15 billionaires who are now broke. No matter how much money you have, bankruptcy may be just around the corner. Today we examine 15 bankrupt billionaires who failed financially. Hello Explore Mindset family. Welcome to the Explore Mindset YouTube channel. Number 15, Patricia Kluge. Kluge was born in Baghdad. She moved to the United States and married billionaire John Kluge, with whom she stayed for 9 years. After their divorce, she stayed in Central Virginia, where she and her third husband, William Moses, founded the Kluge Estate Winery and Vineyard in 1999. She also owned a gas station and convenience store on Market Street and 9th Street in Charlottesville. After that, the store and the winery were both sold, and real estate magnate Donald Trump bought the winery. She tried to sell all of her fine jewelry and artwork, but this didn't save her money. Later, Kluge filed for bankruptcy and lost more than $2 billion. She moved to New York City to try her hand at jewelry design. Number 14, Alberto Vilar, a former investment banker based in the United States, was once the owner of Amerindo Investment Advisors, where he made billions of dollars. Then, at that point, in the year 2000, a fierce auction hit himself and his organization's fortunes incredibly. In a scene straight out of The Wolf of Money Road, Vilar was captured on charges of protection's misrepresentation in 2005 and carried out a 10-year jail punishment. He was found guilty of stock fraud, money laundering, and wire fraud, and the judge gave him the harsher sentence because he tried to stop victims from getting their money back. Number 13, Vijay Mallya, a prominent liquor tycoon and airline manager who is well known for his extravagant lifestyle and parties, is now bankrupt. In order to keep Kingfisher Airlines, his airline, afloat, he reportedly began accruing numerous debts to various banks. He escaped to the unified realm through a strategic visa and is presently remembered to owe around $1.3 billion bucks to the banks, who are attempting to remove him. Number 12, Eike Batista. Eike Batista is a Brazilian sequential business person and previous tycoon who made and lost a fortune in mining, oil, and gas ventures. His 8 gold mines in Brazil and Canada, as well as his silver mine in Chile, gave him access to an estimated fortune of more than $20 billion as chairman of the Brazilian conglomerate EBX Group. He was a part of a plan to use large-scale projects to promote Brazil's infrastructure. However, the plans ultimately led to the demise of his businesses. He was later investigated for money laundering for $100 million, and he was found guilty of bribing a former Rio de Janeiro governor and given a 30-year prison sentence. Number 11, Sean Quinn. Sean Quinn was one of Ireland's richest men. He made his money in the hotels, plastic, and glass industries. His 25% stake in Anglo-Irish Bank nearly vanished during the housing crisis, and the government later purchased the bank after rescuing homeowners. He has filed for bankruptcy with only $50,000 in assets, and is currently estimated to owe the bank approximately 2 billion euros. Number 10, Aubrey McClendon, who was once dubbed America's most reckless billionaire, was one of the largest landowners in the United States, owning more than 100,000 acres. He invested in Irma's Burger Shack and Deep Fork Grill, 2 Oklahoma-based food businesses in particular. Together with Tom Ward, McClendon managed Heritage Management Company LLC, a $200 million hedge fund. He was related to Sports Illustrated supermodel Kate Upton and had a personal collection of nearly 100,000 bottles of wine. Number 9, Jocelyn Wildenstein. She was once worth several $billion and is now worth nothing. She was the former wife of the late billionaire art dealer Alec Wildenstein. Wildenstein was once in possession of approximately $2.5 billion, and she was last seen surviving on $900 in Social Security benefits and assistance from her friends and family. She is said to have revealed that 2 of the paintings in the settlement were forgeries, and that she spent over $1 million per month on extravagant purchases and $500 per month on her phone bill. Number 8, Adolf Merckle was once listed as the 36th richest man in the world. He was one of Germany's 5 richest men and was worth $12.8 billion. Merckle's finances were severely impacted by the financial crisis, and his investment company, VEM, suffered a 75% share loss, prompting banks to demand additional loans secured by securities. After making a speculative investment in Volkswagen shares that ultimately failed and resulted in a further decline in VM's share price, he also lost several $million. On January 5, 2009, Adolf Merckle took his own life by throwing himself in front of a train near his home, leaving only a one-word note that said sorry. Number 7. Bernie Madoff. The life of billionaire Bernard Madoff, who established his Wall Street business in 1960 as Bernard L. Madoff Investment Securities LLC, was not always easy. He ran a Ponzi conspire that had won at once around $65 billion bucks. Notwithstanding, things reached a crucial stage when that multitude of financial backers needed their cash back. $7 billion bucks worth. Madoff was put on trial by the Department of Justice for 11 counts of fraud, money laundering, lying, and theft. He is as of now carrying out a 150-year punishment in government jail and surrendered a large portion of his resources in an arrangement with examiners. Number 6. Allen Stanford. Currently referenced in one of our past recordings, Allen Stanford was once a very rich person, having a great time at parties and games all over the planet. He was the chairman of the now-defunct Stanford Financial Group of companies and was involved in a $7 billion fraud. He started Guardian International Bank in 1985 on the island of Montserrat, making the majority of his money from real estate and the oil boom in Texas in the 1980s. Specialists figured out that he had been running a huge Ponzi plan through Stanford Monetary Gathering, and his workplaces were struck by both the FBI and SEC. Number 5. Elizabeth Holmes, an entrepreneur who was once a well-known figure in Silicon Valley, was said to be on her way to a $5 billion fortune. She was the CEO of a blood testing company that had already raised approximately $6 million from investors. However, her prospects for becoming a billionaire quickly began to deteriorate. The CMS came to the conclusion that Theranos testing might pose a risk to patients' safety due to concerns with the Food and Drug Administration and the loss of its two major partnerships. Theranos shut its entryways in September 2018, and the two Elizabeth Holmes and her accomplice Bright Balwani were accused of misrepresentation by the equity division. Number 4. Huang Wenji was one of 3 Hong Kong billionaires who lost their entire fortune. Huang Wenji owned shares worth more than $2.26 billion in the umbrella-making company China Jicheng Holdings. He was left with just $115 million at the time after a series of losses spread across a network of businesses in one day. In 2016, Huang was ranked number 178 on the Forbes Rich list in China, and in 2017, he was ranked number 468 on the Forbes Rich list worldwide. The organization was initially drifted on the Securities Exchange, a move that, at last, in one day destined the organization. Number 3. Bjorgolfur Gudmundsson is number 3 on our list of failed billionaires. Bjorgolfur Gudmundsson was once Iceland's second richest man. He had a significant stake in the Icelandic bank Landsbanki, which went bankrupt in 2008 and left the billionaire without a dime. He began his successful career in the brewing industry and was also the proud owner of the West Ham United football team in the United Kingdom. He did more than $759 million in debt and filed for bankruptcy protection to recover from his losses. Number 2. Ramesh Chandra is yet another real estate tycoon who was harmed by the housing market. His company, Unitech, was the subject of an investigation due to allegations that it had been mismanaged and that funds had been diverted. It's fascinating to take note of that Ramesh Chandra went from a $10 billion bank surplus to a 3-year prison spell in only several months. Things take care of business quick in India. Number 1. Michael Pearson. Born in London, Ontario, Canada, Michael Pearson began his career at Valiant Pharmaceuticals as an outside consultant in 2007 and progressed through the ranks to become CEO in 2015. That same year, the company became worth $1 billion. However, under Pearson, drug prices began to rise and things quickly fell apart. At the point when stocks fell 90%, his own fortune went from $1 billion to $175 million in under a year. And keeping in mind that he was not 100% bankrupt, he unquestionably knocked some people's socks off inside the organization.